Good morning. Welcome to the front pew. Today's story is all about love. Now, God gave us lots of gifts. He gave us the gift of light, the gift of night and day, the gift of water, the gift of animals and plants. And then once he gave us all those gifts, he said, these are good. Well, there were people that were not making good choices. And so because these people were doing bad things, God decided to send a great flood to wash everything clean so that we could start over again. Well, God knew that there was one family, and the man's name was Noah. Now, God knew that Noah was a good man. And so God came so close to Noah. And Noah came so close to God that Noah knew what God wanted him to do. God wanted him to build a boat. Now, it wasn't just any boat. This was a huge boat called an ark. And so it took Noah and his family many, many years to build this ark. And when they were finished, animals came from all over. And they came up on the ark. There were big animals, there were small animals, there were animals that came from where it was super, super cold, polar bears. There were seals that came from the water. There were animals that came from Africa, animals that came from Australia, kangaroos, lions, scary animals. And so when all of these animals were safely on the ark, they closed the door, and Noah and his family got onto the boat, ark, and then it started to rain. And the heavens opened up, and there was so much rain. First it was puddles, and then the puddles grew together, and they became lakes and oceans until the water covered the whole of the earth. And so it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And you can see this ark went up on top of the water because boats float on top of the water. And so all this time, Noah started worrying. He wondered whether or not God had forgotten about him and all of these animals. But God does not forget about people. And so after 40 days and 40 nights, the rain stopped. Noah looked out, and all he could see was water everywhere. And so he decided, let me try something. So he took a dove, a white bird, and he put it on his hand, and he let it fly off. And so the dove came back, and it had nothing. And so Noah decided, I'm going to be patient. And he waited 7 days, and then he let the dove go again. Well, this time, when the dove came back, it had a little green branch in its mouth. And so Noah knew that there were green growing things in the world. And so he waited another 7 days, and he let the dove go. And this time, the dove didn't come back. And so Noah knew that the dove had found a tree and made its home. And so finally the waters receded, and they were on dry land again. And Noah's family and the animals were so happy and so thankful that the rain had stopped that they decided that they would build an altar. And so an altar is a place that reminds you of something very special that happened. And so they made this altar out of stones to remind them of the flood and how God brought them out of the flood waters. And so the animals came off of the ark and they went out to the four corners of the earth. And when they looked up into the sky, they saw a big bow. This was a rainbow. And a rainbow is God's promise that there will never be a flood such as this again. There might be some floods, but there won't be one that covers the entire earth. And so after it rains and you look up into the sky, you can see a rainbow. And you can remember that that's God's promise to us, that that flood that happened to Noah will never happen again. So I am excited that you came to the front pew today. And every time you go and look at a rainbow, I want you to remember this story. Thanks.